Hello, Braves fans, and welcome back to another edition of Indian Hill Sports Report. I'm Peter Carr.
And I'm Andrew Burgess. And in this week's show, it will include a preview for the winter sports, starting off with wrestling, going to girls basketball, boys swimming and diving, girls swimming and diving, and we'll finish it off with boys basketball. But before we get down to business, we have a special guest in the studio with us today, Indian Hill's Athletic Director, Jill Bruder. Now, Ms. Bruder, thank you for coming in this morning. Let's go ahead and start things off. I mean, last year we had an amazing winter season. We were pretty much dominant in the basketball area along with guys. We had people finish in state in diving and swimming and wrestling. I mean, we just had an all-around good season. What do you think it's going to be like this year?
Well, I believe all the teams are looking forward to having strong seasons and doing very well in the state tournaments. Everyone's gearing up to good solid seasons. It'll be fun.
So, Ms. Bruder, what do you think of the fans? Do you think the fans in the winter are better than the fans in the fall, or?
You know, our student fans are amazing, and it's a lot of fun to have them at all the contests. And I think they supported all our fall teams really well, and I'm looking forward to having them around for the winter. You hear them more in the winter because you're inside, so the army of 200, 300 kids that show up for games to cheer definitely are much louder than when you're outside at contests. But the sportsmanship has been very, very solid, and we're looking forward to having them around because they do make a difference in the outcome of contests.
Now, Ms. Bruder, with girls basketball, they actually have 5 games in a week.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to impact the team?
You know, beginning of the season, they're just going to get out there and play. They're going to do their best. You know, with Thanksgiving falling the way it did and people having to travel with families, we couldn't really play games before or during Thanksgiving break. So they'll have a tough start of their schedule, but they'll definitely be jumping into good competition and be able to gear up then for winter break and practices and get ready for the next part of their season. Got to start someplace.
Yeah. And Ms. Bruder, I mean, we've just had an awesome, coaching program. I mean, all our coaches, they're just very dedicated during the winter. I mean, I think all the faculty, gets behind the winter sports real well. We've got, I think Mr. Zink, is he going to be announcing again for basketball?
We hope so, yes.
And I mean, we just have a lot of participation with the teachers. How do you think that affects the players?
Oh, I think it's a great relationship, and our faculty and staff who come out to support the Braves and all the different teams we have, it's just wonderful to have them in the stands and helping behind the scenes. It's part of a whole program, and I really like that everyone is very supportive of the kids and the athletes and coaches, and it's a very positive relationship. We also have Peter Carr, who does a little announcing too for the girls' basketball games, who does a great job. Have to put that plug in for Peter over here.
Well, thanks a lot for coming in today.
You're welcome.
And hopefully the winter season will be as successful as the fall.
I'm sure it will be, and we're looking forward to a great time this winter. Thank you.
Thank you.
On to the mats with boys wrestling, which graduated their only senior last year, Zach Reckman, who finished 4th in state. And Andrew, this team is very young. How do you think this is going to affect their overall performance this year?
Well, Peter, since they're young, they're very inexperienced, but hopefully coaching will really get them some experience, and they'll have a pretty tough season this year. But I think they'll push through it, and they'll definitely have a lot of improvement throughout the season. And we do have some wrestlers that wrestled last year. One of those would be Michael Jamison, the most notable on the team. I mean, he's definitely the next prospect, like superstar wrestler that we have, if you will. So we're looking for him to get some more experience. He was a freshman last year, and he wrestled some tough seniors in his weight class, and this year he's looking to do better.
Yeah, I mean, Jamison is definitely a great wrestler for Indian Hill, and probably the best wrestler on the team this year. You look at him in 8th grade, he had a lot of accomplishments and accolades that he achieved in his weight class. And then once you got into high school, it's a little different because as a freshman, you're going against seniors, as you said. So it's really difficult to be that successful as a freshman. But now that he has a year of experience, he actually took football off this year and lifted some weights and definitely got a lot bigger, a lot stronger. You can see him in the halls. He's just really short and stocky, real thick. And so hopefully he'll have a successful season this year.
Definitely, and hopefully the team will see significant improvement as a whole, getting more experience for their underclassmen for next year. And we have Pat Gaughan that got to sit down with Michael Jamison. Here's Pat.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with sophomore captain of the Indian Hill wrestling team, Michael Jamison. How are you today?
I'm good.
Now, I know wrestling season's starting up here at Indian Hill, but I bet for you, wrestling season started months ago in the training. What's it like, training all year round for sport?
It's pretty, like physically demanding. Over the summer, I wrestled with Moeller club team, and we would practice every day, and we go on trips and stuff and wrestle in a lot of tournaments. So it's time consuming.
Now, I know you're talking about tournaments. I know you won a big one last year before you got to high school. How was that, winning a big one right before you made the transition from middle school wrestling into high school? That mean a lot to you?
Yeah, it was pretty big. It's a fairly new tournament, but it's nationwide. So there were a lot of people from different states that I wrestled there. So, and the trophy that I got was pretty spectacular.
Now, looking forward to this season, how do you think the wrestling team's going to do, and yourself included? What are your predictions?
Well, I think we're a young team, but it's mainly sophomores. I think we'll do fine as long as people, become leaders and stuff, and wrestle to their potential. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks, Michael, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Pat. And the wrestling team has their first match this Saturday against Middletown Fenwick. Now, girls basketball had a pretty good season last year. They had a slow start, and they really finished off strong in the end, going the farthest any Indian Hill girls team has ever gone in a basketball tournament. And Peter, what's interesting is we had a new coach last year, and that's Mrs. Hall. And for the first time in at least our high school career, we have a basketball coach for the girls that's returning for a second year.
Yeah, I know, and that really helps a team. You want to build a program, and that's what I think she's trying to do here at Indian Hill. Although it's kind of sad, the lack of players that have come out for the team this year. In fact, they only have one team. They don't even have a JV team this year. So, I mean, they're dressing 14 players, and that's kind of tough on younger kids because they don't get to play as much and prepare for varsity.
And Peter, a lot of that is due to the fact that a lot of the basketball players on the girls team are superstars on the soccer field. So they're taking winter season off to focus on their soccer game for club in spring and whatnot. So we've got Lindsay Wiebold, who's focusing on her goalie skills. Meredith Snow's not playing. We've got a lot of players that are focusing on other sports, and that's why they've decided not to play.
I mean, yeah, actually I was sitting in the athletic office yesterday with Miss Bruder, just talking to her, and it's interesting how there were 12 players on the team last year in 8th grade, and 2 of them went to different schools. And there's 10 of them, right, that went to Indian Hill, and none of them played basketball this year. Actually, all of them took off for some interesting reason. Mm-hmm. And that's really tough when you're trying to build a program, when your whole 8th grade and middle school program doesn't feed into it. It just makes it difficult to make a JV team and try to build that program up.
That's definitely true, Peter. And I've sat down with Mrs. Hall and talked to her about the situation, and she said she's not worried about it. I mean, she's got, 12 good players, and she says they're all going to, do their job, and she said they'll get it done on the court and have a successful season despite the fact that they don't have a freshman or JV team. Next year is where the problem's going to be, but I think she'll find new players as freshmen. It's obviously going to be a very young team, but she said she can get it done.
I mean, yeah, that's true, Andrew. They have a lot of returning starters, actually, from last year. They only lost 2 seniors, Katie Hine and Brittany Rogers. So you still have Jenny Osher, Sarah Wiggers, Jill Hoffman, just to name a few. Lindsay Donner as well, who were all key players on the team last year and took them as far as they've ever been in the state tournament. So that's definitely going to help their chances this year, returning that many starters.
Definitely.
And to mention, they actually have a freshman that I realized you talked to Mrs. Hall about, Amy Taylor, who's apparently supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, Mrs. Hall was pretty impressed with the moves that she has, and so were a lot of the girls on the team. I talked to Sarah Wiggers about her, and Sarah was saying how she wished she had as good of moves as Amy Taylor does. So I definitely think she's going to see a lot of playing time this year, and she's going to be an asset to the team. And so even if there were a freshman and JV team, I don't think Amy Taylor would be on them. I think she'd definitely be on the varsity team.
Well, hopefully the girls do successful as they open with 5 games in 1 week, and they open on Thursday versus Madeira at home. Now let's hop into the pool with boys swimming. And Andrew, the team this year has quite a few new additions. How do you think this is going to benefit the team?
Well, I mean, we do add David Johnson and Anish Mehta, but I'm not exactly sure how much experience that really brings to the team. It definitely brings some new swimmers, so we'll see what they can bring to the table, but I don't know if they've had any prior swimming experience before swimming at Indian Hill. They haven't swam their sophomore, junior, or senior year, or freshman, sophomore, and junior year, but they're trying out this year, and we'll see what they can bring to the table, and hopefully they can help the boys swimming team out, which has been successful in the past.
Yeah, hopefully they can. I mean, you have a senior in Phil Lane who's been playing for 4 years. He's swam the past 4 years. Also, Bert Schilling, you can mention him. He's been swimming, I think, the past 2 years because now he's a junior, and actually swims during the summer up at Indian Hill Swim Club. Brinkley Rose, another one to mention, who should be a powerful swimmer for the team this year.
Yeah, and so hopefully they'll have a successful season. They have in the past, just like all our swimming, diving programs. And we'll see what the new additions can bring to the table, and hopefully it'll be something that can really help out the team and maybe add a new element of swimming.
Yeah, now let's go to the triple threat. Andrew, I'm not talking about boys basketball with the triple threat position. No, I'm talking about guys diving. You have 3 phenomenal divers this year. You have a junior, Ian Ballard, who finished 12th in state last year. You have Ben Hall, who's a sophomore, and we all know how he can do flips and dance, as we've seen at different pep rallies. And you have a freshman, Michael Granger, who apparently is unbelievable, and according to Ben Hall, was pretty much born on a diving board.
Yeah, so I think we're definitely going to have a very solid diving season because of these 3 people. Yeah, I've definitely heard the same thing about little Granger. I mean, he's a wonder. I mean, it's just amazing to watch him dive. So we'll see how he can finish in the state finals this year. Ian Ballard's already been there and placed, so he's looking to return and place even higher. He definitely wants to be in the top 10 this year, so we'll see if he can pull that off. And Ben Hall, I'm looking for him to improve. I mean, he's a very limber guy. He's really good at diving, so we'll see if Michael Granger and Ian Ballard can improve his diving and bring him up to their level.
Yeah, Michael Granger really should help to elevate that level of competition, even at practice, which will be good for them to go and see other divers on their own team that are that good. The one problem these guys are going to run into once they get in the state is with guys, there's only one division, and I had this explained to me yesterday. And that seems to be a problem with like our guys finishing as well as the girls do. Because with one division, you're going against guys from St. X, and like a freshman going against a senior from St. X or Moeller, like these guys that are just completely dedicated to diving could be some trouble.
But that also shows just how big of accomplishment it was for Ian to place 12th in state last year. And when he's looking to improve his rank, that shows you he's not just the 12th best diver in Division II or Division III. He's the 12th best diver in our region.
The lovely ladies on the board include Kristen Maurer, Kurtly Kremholz, Rose Perugia, and the newcomer, Izzy Kremholz. And Andrew, with their success last season, how have they prepared for this season?
Well, Peter, they've been preparing very well. Kurtly Kremholz is going to Miami to dive almost every single day, along with her sister Izzy and Molly Granger, and Molly's brother, Michael, who's a very good diver for the boys team. And so she's been going pretty much every day. She's actually decided not to do winter cheerleading because she wants to make a higher commitment to diving, which really shows their work ethic and practice. And then you move to Kristen Maurer, who's also spent a tremendous time on diving. Well, she hasn't actually attended a Indian Hill diving practice. She has her own private practices that she's been going to and really preparing quite well with those.
I mean, preparation is key. You look at Kurtly Kremholz last season, finishing 7th in state. She definitely had a great year. And the interesting thing is how well she did. You know, how she finished 6th and then 6th and just barely qualified. And she steps up under pressure. And
yeah,
that should be a key for her and her success this year.
Definitely. And I definitely look for her to place much higher. in state this year. Also, Kristen Maurer finished 6th in state last year, just ahead of Kirtley. And I look for Kristen to really have a shot at winning, the gold this year at state. So we'll see how that goes. Also, Rose Ferrugia, I'm looking for her to place higher in state as well as we go on through this diving tournament. And then we go to Izzy. I mean, Izzy also has the unique diving talent that Kirtley has, because they're sisters and whatnot. She's a very good diver, so we'll see how well she does throughout the season. From what I hear from Kirtley, she's pretty good.
Yeah, Andrew, I mean, the thing about Indian Hill is there's such a high tradition and expectation for excellence in girls diving. It started a couple years ago with Emily Hunter, who won 4 years in a row at state, and she's the only person ever in Ohio history to win 4 consecutive state titles in her high school career in any sport, which is very impressive. And then you have Ann Kenny, who won it, I think 2 years later. And then you had Brittany Hill, who won it last year. I mean, you see this expectation for greatness. You wonder if it doesn't continue through your senior year and Christian Maurer can't step up this year and be able to put that first place medal around her neck.
Well, I think she definitely has a real shot. All the girls do, actually. I mean, they're so competitive within their practicing because they're all such at a high level of diving that it just really makes the practices that much more intense. And so once they get to competition, they're really ready for it, more so than other girls on other teams, because they don't have the same competition during practices that our Indian Hill girls do.
And speaking of medals, let's go to Amanda Smith and now sophomore Margaret Fish. I mean, unbelievable last year. They were on that 200 free relay team last year that won state. And to do that as a freshman and a sophomore is incredible. I mean, they're gonna be leaders on this swimming team this year.
Definitely, and Margaret Fish is an amazing swimmer. I mean, she's real good at backstroke, if you haven't heard. So she can really put up a fight for that gold medal in backstroke as well. So we're just looking for both of those swimmers to really perform at their top this year. I mean, this is the year that I think that they can individually get some gold medals, as well as with the other girls in a relay. So we'll see how that goes. We also have some other swimmers as well that really, they're really key members on the team.
Yeah, Andrew, we do. Reading the Enquirer the other day, you open it up, and Indian Hill is ranked one of the best swimming teams in the city. In fact, they finished runner-up in state as a swimming team for the past 4 years, and that's impressive in itself. Do you think they'll be able to finish runner-up or in first place this year?
Definitely. I think they will be able to at least get second place. I mean, we have for the past, since 2002, we've gotten second place. So I think, first place is definitely in our grasp, and hopefully we can get that. And now we have an interview with Pat Gaughan. He had the chance to sit down with Amanda Smith and Margaret Fish.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with 2 members of the Indian Hill freestyle relay team that won state last year, Amanda Smith and Margaret Fish. How are you 2 ladies doing today?
Great.
Good.
Now, going back to that state last year, Margaret, you were a freshman, you were a sophomore. What did that mean to you two, state title?
Well, I can remember looking back on it, and I remember when Margaret, she was our anchor. I remember just like crying after the meet because the team that had always won every single relay, they dominated state basically, and they win the state as a team. Hawken, nobody had ever seen them beat in a relay, and I remember so many people used to come up to us and be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you beat them," that kind of stuff. It was so overwhelming to end state that way.
And I didn't really know, as a freshman, how big of a deal it was, and it was just awesome to go in there and feel all of the emotion, I guess, kind of in the first year. It was amazing.
Now, we were talking about that state title, and I know you ladies are probably going to be wanting to go for it again this year. What have you been doing, since you guys won that last year to get ready for this season?
I train year-round at my club, Mason Man Race, out in Mason, Ohio, obviously. And I train 3 hours a day with 45 minutes of weights or biking, that kind of stuff. And I'm a distance freestyler, butterflyer, so I just concentrate on endurance and all that kind of stuff.
And I've been training with my team since I Marlins at St. X, so it's really a nonstop thing. High school season ends, but then we go back to our clubs. So.
Now you're talking about how with those teams, but now you're starting to get back into Indian Hill swimming. As a team this year, what do you think the goals are going to be? Going into season starting.
Well, like when we go to our dual meets, we obviously always lose. And I've been talking to Dave Kaufman, who's our new coach, and he was the St. X coach and St. X is probably the biggest team that dominates swimming in Ohio. And he has a lot of more goals for our team this year to try to even win state as a team, which is big leap. And hopefully me and Margaret can both take home golds this year, which we will.
Yeah, we're going to try to win CHLs because even though we get second every year at state, we have a problem winning CHLs because we don't have enough depth. So we're going to try to bring home a title in CHLs.
All right, well, good luck to you two ladies this year and the rest of the Indian Hill swimming team, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Pat. And the girls and guys swimming and diving team have their first meet on Tuesday, December 13th. Now let's move on to the court with boys basketball, Peter. Last year, they finished 20-2 overall, and they're really looking to maintain that strong record this year.
I mean, yeah, Andrew, they are. They graduated 7 seniors last year. I mean, and that's kind of a difficulty to replace some of them. Brandon Miller, who's now playing for UC, as people have seen him get into the game in the last couple seconds as a walk-on. Will Nolte went to play football in college, and he was the big man in the middle, and he had to be replaced this year. But this team has 9 seniors, actually 3 seniors that came back who played their sophomore year and didn't play junior year but have come back. And I think that's really helped the team. You have John Spatz and Chris Husky who joined the team, and Chris Husky will really help as a big man in the middle.
Definitely. And, in the Enquirer poll that just came out recently, they've ranked a lot of the teams Division 2 through 6 or whatever. And, we're ranked below a lot of the CHL teams. We actually only got 3 votes in that poll. And so I think Indian Hill is going to take that personally, and we're really going to go out there to show them that we're much better than anyone thinks we're going to be. I mean, we did lose a lot of seniors, and you mentioned the fact that Brandon Miller, who was an all-star last year, is now playing for UC, so we lost a lot of talent. But we also gained a lot of talent through some of the players that have come back. I mean, Chris Husky, he's an amazing basketball player. He's got a very soft touch in the paint. I mean, he finds the basket when it needs to be found. And he's the new big man in the middle. I mean, he really fills that role well, and he's probably the biggest guy in the CHL right now that's going to be playing center. So we'll see how he fares throughout the season and how the team does.
I mean, the nice thing about boys basketball is you return Colin Bonekemper and Mike Scherbenberg, who got a lot of playing time last year, along with Andrew Kariakis and Shea Donovan. But Michael Scherbenberg was the 3rd leading scorer on the team last year, and that's really nice to be able to return one of your leading scorers.
Michael Scherbenberg did have the highest scoring game against Marymount last year. He scored 21 points in that game, and he really saved that game for the team, and he's really a key member of this team. He's the heart of the team, and so when he's playing well, the team plays well, and I think that's what we're going to see throughout the season.
Yeah, I think that is what you're going to see. I think you're going to see a different brand of Braves basketball this year. It's going to be a little more intense in terms of how they pressure the ball this year, and it's going to be a little faster paced game. I mean, last year Indian Hill was so good at attacking the line and attacking the basket, actually going to the line so many times last year and shooting 70%, so really making teams punish for fouling them.
Definitely, and I think we're gonna see a lot of improvement throughout the season on foul shooting. Right now, it may not be what it should be, but throughout practicing and once we get to game time, I think we're really going to come through in the end. We're shooting foul shots. And another thing about this team is we're going to be very heavy on the 3-point shooting this year. Last year, we had a very strong guy, Will Nolte, in the middle. So Chris Husky is a good replacement for that, but I still think we're going to see a lot more 3-point shooting this year than we did last year. And I think we definitely have the weapons to do that. Colin Bonekemper and Michael Scherbenberg have an amazing 3-point shot, and they can really just find the basket from outside the arc.
Yeah, they really can. Andrew Kariakis playing point guard this year is going to be a great addition to the team. I mean, he really has the ability to create and open other guys up. In fact, in practice, it's kind of tough. You always have to keep your hands up when Andrew's in the game because you don't know what kind of pass he's going to throw at you.
Yeah, he's an amazing passer. And, you know, a lot of times you'll watch him play in the game, and he'll throw balls, and you're thinking, what is he doing? But then all of a sudden it's behind the head, like pass, you know, back, and, you know, the ball finds the hole. And so he's just a real good addition. He's real quick, and I think he's going to get a lot of steals throughout the season because of his speed and his ball skills.
Next week's show will include highlights and recaps from girls basketball versus Madeira, Clark Montessori, Milford, and Wyoming. Boys wrestling versus Middletown Fenwick, and boys basketball versus Schroeder.
If you have any information that you think would help me and Peter out here at Indian Hill Sports Report, you can contact us through email at ihsportsreporter@hotmail.com. And if you'd like to contact us by phone, you can call 272-4635. And you can also log on to the web and go to www.ihtn.net.
Go to the other camera. Go to,
Yeah, go to, no, yep.
yeah, there you go. You roll over a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little better. Ready?
Yep.
For all of us here at Indian Hill Sports Report, I'm Peter Carr.
And I'm Andrew Burgess.
See you next time.